lot to take in. Okay? And you gotta, once again, you gotta ask yourself, are you ready? Okay? Which the scriptures say, you know, many shall not taste death. Okay, some of the prophets are gonna have to die, but not every single prophet, not every believer is gonna have to deal with that. All right, one of the great deliverances is getting beamed up via the so-called chariots, not so-called, but the chariots of the Lord, so-called UFOs, IFOs, which they're making their appearance, okay, more and more each and every day. There's chariots everywhere, man. Okay, but you gotta ask yourself, are you ready? Because this is gonna affect the whole world. Revelation 13th chapter, Revelation the 3rd chapter. Okay, this new thing that's being brought forth, Isaiah 43:19, this new thing. Okay, digital currency. Okay, you're already getting a glimpse of that via China with their social security system. Okay, their social security identification. Okay, to where if you don't have the correct credentials, like a certain amount on your credit score, you can't eat, you can't do this, you can't do that. And that's what Babylon, aka America, is transitioning into. But it's going to be that device, but it's going to affect the whole world. Okay? The whole world is going to deal with this. It's going to happen across the globe. It's not going to happen in just China. This isn't going to happen in just America. No, this is going to happen across the whole globe. The hour of temptation, once again, as it speaks about in Revelation the 3rd chapter. It's going to try the whole world. And a lot of people are going to fail this test. Okay? A lot of people are going to give in because they're hungry. Okay? Alright, my nigga, you won't let me get over? Because they're hungry or they need a roof over their head. And that's gonna be the trial of the flesh. That's gonna be something that's very, very heavy. Okay? And it's a lot easier to say for anyone right now to say that in the comfortability of their own home. Yeah, I'm ready for die for the Lord. You got fuzzy socks on. Okay? With AC and heat. You know, you never even been homeless. You never even been outside sleeping. Jake never even went camping. Okay? That's easier said than done. Oh, I'm ready to die for the Lord. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Well, are you? All right, which not saying that you're not, but you got to really count the cause and ask yourself, are you really rooted? And on top of that, there's no going back now. Your answer should be yes, because you can't even look back now. Because look, the scriptures say, remember Lot's wife. You know, and don't look back to this old world. This place is depleting. This place is decaying. It's over with. It's circling the drain. It's going down the drain, man. Okay? As we get closer and closer to the end, hey, the Lord has it to where we have us fully detach ourselves and truly hate this place, man. Okay, the scriptures say flee from the midst of Babylon. Spiritually detach yourself. We were caring less and less about the society. Now we still handle business. We're not running around just grabbing our money and just splurging it on bullshit, going broke, and now Jake can't pay his bills. You know, we're not doing that. Okay, even though times are getting harder and money's getting more tight, but we're not just splurging it. We're not in that type of mindset, but mentally not caring about this place. We don't care about these concerts. Okay, we don't care about these festivities. We don't care about 20-year plans, 15-year plans, 10-year plans that these people have, because you don't even have it. You know, obviously we still here in captivity, so we make the most of it. We do what needs to be done. Now, obviously, if a brother wants to get a better job, a brother gets leveled up in the society, a brother starts making more money, that's cool, that's not the problem. But we're not enamored by this place. We're not fully distracted. The scriptures say, don't let the affairs of this life, you know, basically distract you. I think it's 2 Timothy 2. I think it's, or 2 Timothy 4. I think it's 2 though. You know, but we're not letting the affairs of this life, you know, choke us up. We're not distracted. The scriptures say we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We're not ignorant of what this devil is doing. Okay? We believe, we could have another year. We could have another 2 years. Okay? Which we believe to the spirit. Okay, that DJ Trump within these 4 years is going to get things stepping stone. We believe we'll be out of here within these 4 years. Okay, and we can see that it's really soon because look at the great signs from heaven. Look at the prophecies. Okay, things that the apostles and elders have been teaching about from the jump for the longest are literally jumping off the pages, man. Okay, and we're getting closer and closer to the end. That means, hey, that means you need to come up on a level. Okay, you need to grow. Every day you should be growing, learning from your mistakes. Okay, growing, fixing, being more rooted, being more tapped into the spirit. Okay, being more brotherly, being around the brotherhood more. Okay, fellowship. Take these things serious because that lone wolf spirit, man, that ain't gonna work. We telling Jake time after again, If you think this shit's gonna work, you're gonna lose, man. And we ain't saying this because you just hate. See, look, 144. Okay, right? I don't know, right on this. Let's see if I can come up on it. You might not be able to see it, but I know I can see it. Hey, 144. Okay. And the Lord, hey, and the Lord ain't playing with nobody. If you're of the elect, hey, you're gonna be able to withstand these things, man, because the scripture say that in Romans 8. Okay, labels things. What can separate us from the love of the Most High? One of the, persecution. Okay, death, anguish. Okay. What's going to separate you? The question is nothing. Those who are of the elect, they're not going to get separated from the love of the Lord, because the Lord is going to be with them through thick and thin. Okay, the Lord's been with them from the jump. Okay, and if you're of the elect, hey, the Lord, He's going to protect you. But you also got to have that faith. You got to believe. You got to believe that the Lord is literally dealing. You got to believe, and the scriptures say as well, you got to apply. Okay, what you believe. Okay, because don't just say it. You got a lot of niggas that's, they say Yahweh Shemel Shai, but they're niggas. They're niggas, they ain't got no faith, they don't listen, they're not in order. That you don't need to be that individual. The scriptures say strive for the truth unto death, and strive for the masteries, and learn in sincerity and in truth. These are scriptures from the Bible that Jake be claiming they reading and all day reading and and all that, but they don't apply the simplicity of Yahweh Shai. They don't do it. You have to do it, man. Don't be an example of these guys. Look what the Lord's doing. He's bugging Jake out. And they've been in the camp. They've been laboring. They've been this. They've been that. They've been on the battlefield with you. They've been laboring. But then magically they just disappear. They poof. They just disappear. They don't believe no more. They scoff. They can't handle the judgment. They can't, you got to count the cost. So you got to ask yourself, are you ready? First and foremost for myself, am I ready? And your question should be yes, and as you continue to grow and become more and more ready, more and more prepared. Gird thy loins like a man. Make sure your diet is intact. Now it ain't gonna be perfect, no, but shit, exercise. Scripture say bodily exercise profited little. Pray, fast, study, and if you feel like you need to do more. Do more videos. Do more than 3 videos a week. That's the standard, but do more. There's so much going on. There's so much going on the earth, man. Hey, there's always so much room to do more. There's always more room to pray more. There's always more room to fast more. There's always more room to read more. There's always room to do more for Yahweh Shemel Shai, because ultimately we're not doing enough. Whether you believe it or not. We're not doing enough. Okay, now obviously don't burn yourself out. I'm just saying in the sense of how through as Jake is the nation. It's never enough. The scriptures say pray without ceasing, which that word ceasing goes into constantly, non-stopping, non-stop prayer, constantly praying. Now, I can't tell you how many times you need to pray. I can't tell you how many times you need to fast. I can't tell you how many chapters you need to read. I can't tell you. That's your measure. That's something that you have to build up within Yahweh Shemel Shai. And clearly as well, don't be OR out here either. Over righteous. You can burn yourself out for being over righteous. Okay? But at the same time, don't be lazy and simple, man. You got to know the balance. You got to be balanced, man. Because in Proverbs, 11:1, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord. And you got a lot of Jake that don't know how to balance. They do be doing too much, or they be doing too little. You got to find that perfect balance, and you have to discover it. And you need to pray to the Lord and ask for balance. And also to understand when you ask for the Lord for certain things and He puts you through a trial, you got to understand what the trial is, man. Okay? You got to understand it, because the Lord's not going to just give you faith. The Lord ain't going to just give you spiritual growth. No, you got to go through these things to earn that. It's a challenge. When you play a video game, right, you don't just get the new items. You don't just get that new gun. You don't just get that new power up. No, you got to go out there and branch and go get that. When you want to buy something from the game shop in the game, you have enough coins. What do you got to do to get that item? You got to go collect them coins throughout the map, throughout the game. You don't just get it. There ain't no such thing as a free ride. You got a lot of jakes that expect free rides. It's not a free ride. It's not free points. It ain't free brownie points. Ain't nothing free out here. Esau ain't gonna give you nothing for free. Why the hell would you think the Most High will give you something for free? Faith is a gift. It's a gift that the Lord has to give you. You gotta be deemed worthy to receive these things, man. Okay? You gotta put your best foot forward. You gotta work for these things. You gotta work for that paycheck at the job, right? You think you just gonna get a check You don't go to work, you expect to get a check, you expect to get these hours. No, you gotta go to work. You gotta do the job. You think you're just gonna sit around at your job and just sit around and not do nothing? No. You gotta work. What they say, if you don't work, you don't eat. I expect a paycheck and you don't go to work, or you go to work, you don't do nothing, you get fired. Where's my check though? What do you mean? What do you mean with check? You ain't putting no work in. You don't go to work. You don't do this, you don't do that. I'm trying to get gains. I'm trying to get swole in the gym. Well, that means you gotta go to the gym, which means you gotta eat a certain way, be up on your protein. You know, you ain't gonna just get the muscle. You gotta put the work in, man. Okay, the Lord ain't gonna just sup with you just because you know the names. You still got work to do. James, the 2nd chapter. Okay, work your work 3 times. Do what needs to be done. Yeah, the Lord, it's a pleasure the Lord wants to give you the kingdom of heaven, but you got to work for it. The scriptures say when it comes to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Sirach 2. Okay? You got to put the work in, man. Jake want to get cold at basketball. You know, how do you think LeBron James got to where he's at? Stephen Curry, John Morant. Okay? Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant when he was alive. How do you think they got where they was? Because they put that work in, man. You have to put that work in. And if you don't put that work in, how are you going to be ready for the hour of temptation? How you going to be ready for that? You ain't been putting the work in. You ain't been praying. You ain't been fasting. You ain't been doing the work. You ain't been risking your lives and freedom. The scriptures say, what is it, Romans 12, represent your body as a living sacrifice. You're a sacrifice to the Lord, man. Just like how Yahushua sacrificed his life for us, he was a sacrifice. For you, you gotta be in that same mindset for the Lord. Now, obviously, you're not gonna get put on a cross. All right, but you gotta be ready to lay your life down. You gotta be ready for that. Now, obviously, nobody wants to die. Yay, I'm dying. Yay. No one's having that mindset. You're weird if you think that's weird. You know, yay, I'm dying. That's weird. But you gotta be down too. You gotta be ready for it. You know, when you're backed in the corner, are you ready? Okay, are you ready to deal with the concentration camp? Are you ready to deal with martial law? Are you ready to be dealing with a situation where it involves you? What's the decision you gonna make when they come up to your doorstep, talking about you've been enlisted for the draft? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna stand bold as a lion and stand tall in the names of Yahweh Shemel Shai in great boldness, or are you gonna fold and give in to the devil's wiles, his trickery? What are you gonna do? You gotta personally ask yourself that. And that goes to me first and foremost. Are you ready? My mindset is, shit, we here. And Lord willing, I stay true to my words. And Lord willing, you stay true to yours. But my mindset is, shit, we here. There is no going back. Go back to what? This place is done. That's what kills me with some jakes that fall out, which ultimately, they're not of the elect. But when you hear how they fell out, you're like, well, nigga, that was minute. That was nothing. You got Jake falling out and leaving the camp over a crybaby shit. It don't even be nothing crazy. It don't be nothing big. It don't be a heavy challenge. But it shows how strong their spirit is. And it's very weak. Grudges, lack of communication is why a lot of Jakes don't be still in the truth. That's very weak. The scriptures say, put off the weak nature. That's in the Apocrypha. Put off the weak nature. That's weak nature, man. And you won't be able to withstand the ultimate test if you can't even put off weak, minute battles. Jake struggled. You at the first boss battle. You're at World 1, like on some Mario shit. You're at World 1, and the boss really ain't hard, but you just didn't prep. You didn't get that. You didn't get the fire flower. You didn't get the extra mushroom. You didn't get the mega mushroom. You didn't get the ice flower. Okay. If you had those things in your arsenal, you wouldn't be able to beat the boss. It's an easy boss. You only gotta jump on his head 3 times. You only gotta shoot fireballs at him 5 times. But you didn't count the cause. You just gave up because you just saw something that was like, I don't like it. That might be a little too much. You didn't even try. A lot of Jakes don't even try. They just immediately give up, immediately fold, man. And that's weak nature. Again, they didn't count the cause. Slack it. I know my phone keeps falling, but I'm about to get ready to wrap it up. So you gotta ask yourself, are you mentally, spiritually ready? Are you ready? Because we're coming to the time where that's about to happen at any given moment. Once again, these devils, they closing in. Revelation 12 and 12, they have but a short time. Hell, we have a short time. We ain't about to be out here teaching for much longer. Okay, they're about to start making a lot of things illegal. Street teaching is going to be illegal at an all-time high. They're already doing that in the UK. I even mentioned that in yesterday's lesson. All right, so you better count the cost. You better understand what you're involved in. Apostle Gabar constantly says it over and over and over. A lot of Israelites don't understand what they're involved in. They're just here to be here. They're just here for chicken. They're just here for a couple of laughs. You know? But that shouldn't be the reason why you're here. You should be like, I'm here to serve the Lord. And I remember Elder Ariella in Dallas asked me a couple years ago, what are you here for? I said, I'm here to serve the Lord. I'm here to do what's right and get delivered. And he said, okay, well, you need to go harder. You know? So that's it. You know? So basically, I'm at my destination. That's something I just wanted to quickly put up. It was on my spirit. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to tap into that. But just be mindful, man, because that ultimate test is on the table. It's on the forefront. Okay? So count the cost. So, Lord, let's edify to the elect. And before I close, call Yahweh, B'Shem El-Shai, B'Shem Chak Wadash. And once again, double honors the apostle notice the GMS is pushing his word through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem El-Shai. And your brothers and sisters, you find this good fight of faith, and no man take that crown. Shalom.